begets somebody wanting to be antagonistic?
Well,
Sorry, I had to ask.
As I say, there are some people who are just so uptight and so in your face that it can be very challenging. I remember going to the post office and this man was, do this, do that, and it really seemed to be annoying people, everyone he met. And I thought, I'm not going to let him bother me. Knowing what I know, I thought, well, I handed him my book. I should have marked every page he should have read. But, now he smiles at me. There's no issue anymore.
Huh.
And so...
Right,
yes.
so it's the tendency in the face, but we have a choice. I love that. So you're tuning in today to Maryanne Live, and we're talking with Naomi Tickle about her new book, What Makes People Tick and Why. This is very important for us to know, right? To understand ourselves, but also to have the tools and the information to help us navigate some of our tendencies. Okay, so let's break it down, Naomi, for folks who have never heard of personology or have a little bit of an understanding. Does it go eyes, nose, mouth, ears, shape? I mean, what are some of the basics that we can break down for folks? I know you go into great detail in the book, but let's talk about some of the basics.
Well, the first thing we look at is the eyes as soon as we meet someone. And what we actually do is we measure the eye, we measure the space between the eye, the inner corner to inner corner, then we measure the eye itself. Now, I'm not suggesting when you meet someone for the first time
you pull out your tape measure. How you doing? Come over here. Get a little closer here. I got a pocket tape measurement. Can you imagine? That'd be funny.
It'd be an interesting way they'd remember you.
Yeah, signature.
So if the width of the eye is much wider than the space between the eyes, then that person has close-set eyes and very good with detail, notices detail, doesn't like interruptions, doesn't like people being late, and she wants you to do things on time, or he, and sometimes they get a little tight. And then when things aren't working, they can worry things till it's bigger than life itself.
Yes.
And they can get consumed with it. It's like one woman said to me, sometimes it took her down to a deep, dark hole because she got so consumed by it. Mm-hmm. Whereas the person who has the wide-set eyes, so the space between the eyes is much wider than the size of the eye, then these are your more laid-back people. Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. Why are you getting so uptight? Mm-hmm. So in relationships, if you have the opposites in relationships, the close-set eye person asks her partner or his partner to go off and do something, and the wide-set eye person probably forgets because, got distracted by something else.
Yes.
And then that gets, and then immediately there's like this interaction. So knowing this about each other helps them to not get so miffed at each other or not much more tolerant.
That's right. So are the wide-set folks attracted to the close-set folks? Does it work like that with these kind of features, or do you just get what you get when you're with somebody? I mean, how does that work, the attraction factor?
Well, People magazine, actually, they did an article about a couple of years ago on some of the top most beautiful women. Every one of them had close-set eyes. So it's an attraction factor. Plus, if somebody has this very magnetic eye, like yourself, that men will certainly think the woman is flirting with them. And that's another attraction.
And you're not. You're just being yourself, standing there over the bananas.